What's going on, guys? Gilly Writes Comics here. Hope everyone is doing well. So let's talk. Let's get uncomfortable. I've been watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, and I do think it's a decent show. However, there's some parts of the show, I guess the writer in me comes out, where I have questions, where I kind of want to dig a little bit deeper. And one of the characters that I have beef with is a character called Isaiah Bradley. Now, first of all, I think this character there's layers to him, which I like. However, when I analyze his character a little bit further is where I have issues with the character. And again, a character is only as robust or only as determined as a writer allows them to be, right? A writer has the ability to let their character loose or keep their character chained down. So I watched the first 5 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I couldn't help but write a tweet, and I write another tweet, and I know I hate going on Twitter and getting into all this type of stuff. I kind of just like to be super positive and just focus on promoting my comics. But if there's something I'm passionate about, I'm going to be vocal on it. I don't care. I'm just going to say what I need to say. If people want to listen, that's great. If people don't and they want to disagree, that's also great. I welcome that. So I'm just going to share the screen. You guys can see the screen right here. I want to take a look at this tweet. So there's a few tweets that I did, but just so you guys could get into the mind space of where I'm coming from is where we're going to go. So we're going to look at this tweet here that I made. And then it says, this is a comment that Isaiah Bradley made. So let's talk about Isaiah Bradley. A little bit about Isaiah Bradley that I think is interesting about him is that he was injected with a super soldier serum, and he's been experimented on. And I'm not familiar with this character in the comic books, but I do think the idea of, injecting a black man with the super soldier serum, treating him like a lab rat, I think that's interesting to me. And we all know, America does have a dark history, and I get that. And me as my parents are Puerto Rican. If I go into the Puerto Rican history, when America took over Puerto Rico, there's stuff there that I can get into that definitely not cool. But again, like I said, that's for a different time and place. But I'm just showing you guys where I come from so you guys could understand that when I look into Isaiah Bradley's character, I'm understanding his plight. I'm understanding his struggle. I'm getting that. But then we're in that examination and that analysis, I'm also uncovering the flaws I see in him and the flaws I see in him as a character, and I'll get into that. But let's look at this. This is something that he says. He says they would never let a black man be Captain America, and even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be a Captain America. And I think this is interesting because, of course, the whole thing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier is that, if you remember the end of Avengers, Captain America gives the shield to the Falcon. Steve Rogers gives it to him. He feels he's earned it. I always had an issue with that because I always thought the Falcon was a cool character. I didn't see him being the next Captain America, although I didn't see him not being a candidate. I do feel that if he is going to take up the mantle, we need to see a sort of patriotic pride, right? And we also need to see some heroism there, right? We need to see why Captain America, why Steve Rogers sees him as becoming the next Captain America. We need to see that. If it's like a mission they did in the past, if it's something where it's like, man, like I get it. I honestly didn't get it when watching Avengers. I felt like, the Falcon, they could have had moments where they give him these, even if it's a quick 2-minute scene where he's really amplified and his actions are really like, holy cow, this is just a human being with this flight suit, but he's really going overboard. Maybe if it's in his training, maybe if it's him not wanting to let someone down. Like if we see that, I could agree with that more. My problem is where Sam's reluctance to take a stance on, if he agrees or disagrees with Isaiah Bradley's strong opinions. And this is where I quote here. I'm just saying, Sam, now's a good time to say you disagree with that. So you're just going to sit there and stay quiet, really? Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So where Isaiah Bradley says this, I feel like Sam can weigh in on that. Again, you're getting into some deep topics here, but we need to see two sides of that coin. We need to see the coin of the black man, the angry black man that hates America, that he's been tortured, and he's been wrong. They just did him wrong every step of the way, and I can get that. But then we need to see the side where Sam's like, hey, listen, there's a side of that coin that I get you. I can feel you on that, brother. I can feel that. But at the same time, America's been good to me. You know, they blessed me with these mechanic wings. I'm able to fight and defend, you know, my country along with the world, with the Avengers. They trusted me into the program. They trusted me with these things. You know, things have changed from the 1950s, you know, but we never get that. We just get him being quiet, and that's it. So I also had another tweet here, and this is more where I feel Sam is a great character in that he's good at giving advice. He's done more help for Bucky than I think Bucky's therapist has, right? Like he can get to him in ways, and I love that about Sam. And he gives him some great advice here. It says, I find it interesting that Sam tells Bucky, you got to stop looking to other people to tell you who you are. And that's a great line, right? Don't worry, don't measure your success, don't measure your happiness on others. And that's great, right? But then I feel like this is where you have Isaiah Bradley telling him, ain't no self-respecting black man would ever want to be Captain America. Is Sam not a self-respecting black man? Does he not want to be the next Captain America? Maybe he doesn't. In the beginning, we see that he didn't, right? He didn't want the shield. But now seeing how Paul Walker mishandled the shield, this would be a good moment where Sam could step in and say, hey, listen, I am a self-respecting black man, but I do think there's hope in this country. I do think, you know, we can make things better. And I want to, if I'm going to do what I have to do, and I'm going to show you that, yeah, a black man can be Captain America. He never says that. He never does that. And that's my problem. We're getting this one-sided angle in that America's bad, America's evil. I get that. And it's just the ratio to America being evil mentioned by all these other characters to where we have a character saying something good about America is non-existent. It's just bashing and pounding on it. And in that, I think we're undermining Steve Rogers' legacy. So, and here's another tweet that also got some traction. This is where I say, you know, Isaiah Bradley, he's like, they never let a black man be Captain America. And this is me. They let a black man run shit for Avengers, excuse my language, let another one fly around in a war machine, and bless one with mechanized wings. This is why you need to see things beyond the lens of race. And when I say that, I'm not saying ignore race. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to see beyond that lens, because I could just see black and white. If I just see black and white, I miss out on the gray area. I miss out. The gray area is where all the complexities lie. The gray area is where we see things that is beyond the race of black and white. So this is my problem, right? So here's one dude saying, no, comics has always been a reflection of society. You can't ignore race just because you want to acknowledge it. But you over here rooting for the U.S. agent says a lot. I'm not saying ignore race. The brother missed my point, and he missed the three examples of three powerful black men that I put here in the MCU. We're not even talking about the most advanced civilization, right, is Wakanda in the MCU, when they're African, right? And then here we go. I didn't ignore race. I showed you three black men in the MCU who didn't cry victim to. If you limit yourself to black and white, you miss out on the gray area. That's what I've been saying. America has a bad history, I get it, but also provides opportunity if you're able to stay focused. Well, seeing as most movies have been centered on white heroes or outer space, I think they have much room to address real issues. This shows lets them do that. And then I say the super serum experimentation leaves a lot of room for expose, and also has me question Isaiah Bradley's inaction to do anything about it instead of complain. He's a soldier, super soldier with nothing to lose. Imagine if he came after the original Captain America. So I'm bringing up at least what I think is a cool angle and something that could add more depth to Bradley, right? Okay, you're mad. You know, you've been in prison for a while, and you're out, and you don't do nothing about it. And this is where he's like, are you dumb? The man was in jail for 30 years. Get the F out, right? And this, and this is me. And he was free for 42 years. Talk about dumb. This is what you gotta love about Twitter, right? He's like, are you dumb? If somebody was wrongfully imprisoned for half of their life, they probably very bitter against the organization that put them in there and has no intention of putting themselves in that situation again. Okay, great. So Bradley's very powerful dude, and he's just been in prison for all this time. He gets out and he's just not going to do nothing about it, right? And this is where me as a writer, I come from a different perspective. If you were wrongly in prison and had superpowers, you'd stay cooped up inside your house and not take action. That's the problem when you create one-sided characters with their only motivation being to sit and marinate in the hate. This man, and then that's what I'm saying. You create a really cool character in Isaiah Bradley, but the hate is just, that's all that's defining him. Is he acting out on that hate? Remember, characters need motivations. That's writing 101. His motivation is just to sit and moan and bitch about him being tortured and not rectifying it in any way he can see, or even make an attempt, right? Even if it's through peaceful protest, even saying, hey, I'm a super soldier, but I'm gonna stand up to the injustice. I'm gonna stand up to this. I'm gonna make that injustice available to everybody because you guys need to know what happened. But no, he stays quiet in his little room, in his little home, not saying nothing because that's where the writers want him. So that's my whole issue with why I feel when it comes to, creating characters, when it comes to when you have a character and their motivation is hate, okay, we need reaction to the motivation, right? When you create a character, there's motivations, there's ambition. What are you doing to get said goal, right? If you create a story, a good villain has great motivation aside from, I want to rule the world, right? Then why do you want to rule the world? Like, what makes you want to rule the world? Well, because in the world the way it is, I've seen people lose their lives. I've seen this. I want to rule it because I want to make it a fair place. Okay, now we have an interesting villain, right? So that's just my piece, and that's my beef with Isaiah Bradley. I think the idea of the super soldier that's been abused, that's been treated like a lab rat, makes for a compelling character when that compelling character is doing more than just crying about it. Okay? What would be really crazy and bold, and I know the direction Disney wouldn't go, but I would go there, is let's say Sam does become, new Captain America, right? That, just seeing that maybe ticking off Isaiah Bradley to where he comes out and goes at, heads on this collision course against the new Captain America, right? So we have this guy who could never be viewed as Captain America, Isaiah Bradley, tortured and abused, treated like a lab rat, coming after the new black Captain America, which is Sam, who believes in the symbol, who believes in the shield. I think that would make for a crazy, awesome, compelling one-on-one, right? Like superhero villain. But again, they're going with Paul Walker as the villain. Again, America's evil. I understand that. White man evil. I get it. You're building that up. Although I think the way they're gearing Paul Walker, we understand, like, he lost his best friend, someone who kept him grounded, and I understand that, and which is why we're seeing him kind of lose it a bit. And then the person who killed him, Carly, this high school freshman, the new leader of the Flag Smashers, just killed him in cold blood, gets away, and that's it. All right. So anyway, guys, this is Gilly Writes Comics. I'll try to keep these videos kind of short. Again, when I have something to talk about, I have to share my opinion. I will continue watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I want to see where they go with it. And, hopefully we can create a story that, promotes unity, a message of unity when it's all said and done, instead of a message of division and that America is evil and it's most likely just an evil place. It's going to stay evil. It's going to remain evil, because if you don't have hope in this world, what do you got? Till next time, guys. Peace.